What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Comment Writers. We are a Kamen Rider review podcast, and today on the show, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode number 48. I'm your host, Josh Meek, the Uber Geek, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Toby Tobes. How's it going, Toby?
So this is kind of like tied to a conversation we were having separately the other day. But how many apps do you think you have that are specifically things that are tied to a food service?
Ooh, okay. I can maybe actually get some real figures here.
Okay, so while you're crunching your numbers, so I have two that I would say I use heavily. One of which being the Taco Bell app, of course, and the other one being Slice, which is, at least for the United States, it's like pizza delivery kind of thing, where if you don't want like Domino's, Papa John's, big chain pizzas, use Slice to order from local places. So this is how the local pizza place knows me by name. The guy says, "Hey bro, what's up?" Says he appreciates me. The other day you and I were talking and I said, I wonder if Slice has a VIP type button built into it where maybe he recognizes me more because I buy so many things from there, blah, blah, blah. And that led me to a news article I saw today, as soon as you give me your food stats, if you would like.
So I should preface by saying that I'm a bit of an app extremist, an app hoarder, I guess maybe we'll say. I install apps a lot and then rarely uninstall apps. So I have an embarrassing amount of food apps on my phone right now. If I search just for apps in my food library, or in my app library rather, I find Arby's, DoorDash, Taco Bell, Uber Eats, and Yelp, which doesn't really count. And then scrolling down through, there's like way more. I've got Applebee's. I have a coffee, a local coffee place has an app. I have Chick-fil-A. There was another one that I saw here just a second ago that I have that was very funny, so I can find it again. Dutch Brothers, which is another coffee place. Yeah. I have so many. So I have a lot. I don't use most of them, but a lot of them are like, like Applebee's is a good example. Like we order from Applebee's maybe like twice a year at most, but like it's easier to do it than after. So, still have it for that.
Okay, so where this is going, and this is vaguely tied to my Slice VIP question, and I guess it's a tier that should be obvious as a tech person, and I'm going to say, you might say, this obvious, this shouldn't be surprising. So there's a magazine, and it might be global, if not, it's called Wired. It's kind of like the cool tech magazine, articles, stories. They do good tech research kind of thing. The magazine might suck now, but it was awesome when I was younger.
Yeah, it used to be great. Well, Wired was incredible. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So a reporter for Wired decided to make a request for his data that McDonald's owned through the McDonald's app, because he's from California and you have the right to see your data, your privacy data, or like information about you, stuff like that. So he got a report back from McDonald's with all of his information. It doesn't say how long he's used the McDonald's app, Josh, but if you ask for a report from a company on your usage through their app and the data they have on you through their app, how many pages back do you think you would get?
Oh, it's got to be a crazy amount. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'll say 10. I'll take a shot and just say 10.
Okay, so the Wired
I do think it's fairly high.
Okay, so the Wired guy got a 515-page report detailing his McDonald's usage.
Holy crap. Is it like meaningful data? Like, or is it just sort of like nonsense?
So this is why we're having this conversation, because I find it interesting. So it has all of his purchases, his loyalty points history, like any promotional offers he did with his account. It kept track of like all the McDonald's Monopoly game codes he scanned. That I guess all seems reputable. Like with most apps, I'm sure if I said like, have I ever redeemed codes with you, I could get that information. But the interesting part, at least to me, is he got stats back that said they used whatever generational data models they used to predict that he would visit McDonald's 2.16 times within the next month and a half, spending on average about $13.49 per order.
Oh.
It gave him a ranking of his most relevant McDonald's menu items. So like the top two was like a spicy snack wrap and a large Diet Coke. And then McDonald's predicted that he would be a huge fan of the Grinch McShaker fries, which was a limited time offering that was given out where they give you Grinch themed like dill pickle powder to sprinkle over your French fries. They also have a field that is customer attrition likelihood, which would be the odds that you would stop going to McDonald's. And his rating was 0, which means they basically effectively know that they have him locked in for life.
That's crazy.
And like McDonald's, of course, says like this is just to help personalize the app to you and like the things you get out of the app. But it's crazy, like I have said before, or at least to you, if not publicly, like I'm a huge gambler. At some point, I started figuring out that like whatever promotions they give you are definitely tailored to what you're doing. And then at some point, there's a big thing of like, oh yeah, they obviously use AI to do real time things, or else most of these systems wouldn't work. And like me just asking you if Slice had VIPs really didn't get my brain going far enough to go, I wonder how much information they actually track of like what my next move will be without me actually knowing what my next move is.
Yeah. Everyone always freaks out and thinks that like, oh my God, my phone is listening to me because I, talked about random topic with someone. And then the next day I started getting ads for it. And like, your phone doesn't have to be listening to you because every company you interface with on the internet has every other piece of data about you, right? It doesn't need to listen to you because it has like your entire search history and your location history and the search history of the phones that your phone is around. And like it compiles all this data so it can like minority report things about you without having to listen to you. It is crazy. Like this was wild, 10 years ago is still. And now that like AI exists and that you can process this data in ways that you couldn't before and collate it in different ways that you couldn't before, it is like getting quickly really terrifying how easy it is to like know things about people. Yeah, I mean, not to get too like serious talk about it, but like the flock cameras are a great example of this, of just like install some cameras in various places around the state and around your city, and then suddenly, again, Minority Report style, police can start like precogging crimes that you're about to commit because you traveled down a road at a certain time and stuff. Like, yeah, that stuff's really scary.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I've found that I've become like more and more of a technological hobbit as this has progressed and I've gotten older. Like I, share less of myself on the internet. I'm a member of fewer and fewer services and social media sites and stuff as the years go on. I post less on the ones that I am on. Like I try to turn off cookies whenever possible and stuff like that, because it's just getting spooky. It's getting pretty spooky out there.
And it's funny because like I'm gonna say that this might be an urban myth, but might be real. There was like stories floating around the internet, I guess mainly, or like Facebook, whatever. It would have been like 15 years ago at this point, 20 years ago, where like a dad found out his daughter was pregnant because of she was signed up for like Target rewards.
Oh yeah.
They were tracking her shopping history and then sent her a coupon for like some sort of like diapers, baby wipes, whatever. And it was like a whole thing of like, wow, oh my God, Target's tracking your purchases and sending you custom things. And like that was a big deal forever ago. And so many levels past that at this point.
Yeah, that is commonplace at this point.
I would expect that to happen just because today's Monday, as an example, for like the way things are tracked at this point.
Yeah. I'm trying to open right now. So speaking of requesting your data from websites, when I deleted my main Twitter account, I exported all of my Twitter data. So it should have like my full collection of tweets and stuff. But I've never really like opened it. It's the zip file I have that is 623 megabytes in size. So I'm opening it right now just so we can check it out here, because I'm very curious of what was inside of it. Oh, okay. So they actually give you like an HTML page that actually like lets you just browse your tweets.
Okay. I mean, that makes the most sense. It just basically like dumped It dumped to your account. I guess
Yeah, let
effectively.
me see if there's any like that crazy data. Personalization. Oh, my interests. It has my interests. Would you like to know? Oh, they're not ranked in. They're in alphanumeric order. My very top interest was 2017 WWE SummerSlam.
I wonder if it's just pulling. I mean, I wonder if it just pulls like hashtags at that point.
Probably
Or
so. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it just depends on what in 2017 how advanced they already were doing with the. Like, I don't even think trending was a thing you could follow at that point yet, or like popular, whatever the little tab's called now, like the most relevant things that people are talking about, kind of deal.
Yeah. So this archive was made in 2024 is when I downloaded this file. Oh, it does have my location history where I've accessed Twitter throughout my time. That's pretty
Yeah.
weird. I see the various cities that I've been in, which is a little strange. It has no saved searches. It knows a little bit about my demographics, but nothing scary. It knows that I'm male. It knows that I speak English, and it knows that I am somewhere in the range of 13 to 54.
Good job.
Yeah. And it has every DM I've ever had in it. So it's mostly just weird because it has my full history of my communications on Twitter
Yeah.
rather than anything that they're inferring about me. But
Like that would be like the most expected thing that I think for like most of these things of like what you're saying here of it's just basically giving you like, hey, here's your account plus some bonus things we tracked for a social media site more so than like other sites would, I guess.
yeah, I would suspect that at this point, maybe they didn't at the time when I extracted that, but I would guess at this point, Twitter now is doing more of a profile on its users, like than it did before. Like I bet they've expanded that, and they have a lot more insight into people. Maybe they still don't share it if you request it. Like I guess it's kind of cool that if McDonald's is tracking that they give it to you when you ask for it. But
Well,
um,
I mean, it depends on where you live too. Like
oh
the
yeah,
whole
because
crux
it's
of why this worked is it's California, for at least the U.S. is let me see what data you have on me. State. I don't know if all the other ones are yet or not.
crazy. What a weird world.
I don't even see how to pull my information down if I wanted to anymore. So we might be
Oh, on
moving
Twitter.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that it was hard to find when I was looking to do it, but yeah, they probably don't. Also, I think I had to wait like 48 hours. I think I had to request it, and then I had to wait like multiple days until they emailed it to me. Then I was able to finally like close the account.
Yeah, it's definitely what it seems like. Like if I do it now, what's my password? Shit. I'm gonna try to do it now, quick, and we'll
Yeah, if
see
you
if
can
we
find
get
it,
it
see
during
what
the
the
show.
process is. I think the really crazy site, if if people are still on it, would be interesting to see what they keep on you is Facebook. I bet Facebook's data on a person is crazy.
I would assume so because, I mean, I generally assume people put way more shit on Facebook than they would on Twitter of
Yeah.
like localized to you and your interests, and of course, like they have like your direct family, your friends. People post like in a relationship with so and so, and they know how many years and like know their family, and like they probably build like the craziest like digital family trees that are possible.
Yeah, I would say so. Well, Toby, let's transition away from this depressing topic and let's talk about another depressing topic, which is the current state of the characters of Kamen Rider Zeztz.
We're
Because
gonna download their data.
yeah, we definitely have downloaded their data, and maybe we're gonna delete some data today, which is what happens in episode 48. Um, yeah, this is a bit of a down moment. This is maybe the Empire Strikes Back of the finale of Zets, because of course, spoiler alert, the end of this episode, Nem decides to sacrifice herself. So I want to couch all of our conversations about Zets episode 48 with like that in mind. That like that's sort of the end thing that happens here, the big cliffhanger for the episode. Nem realizes that she's had a great life. She's had a lot of friends. She's had some good times, and she can let it go to protect the world. So she really makes like the ultimate sacrifice at the end of this episode.
Yeah, and I I would have kept thinking that they would not have done it at all. Like when they basically set up the slow motion Baku's gonna die again, who's gonna save him this time, like shot as they've used 5 or 6 times throughout the show. And Nem's basically talking to her mom, and she's like, I see the only way out now. I finally recognize the truth, blah blah blah. And I fully expected Nem to go into her own like actual rider form, because there was hints along the way of like, hey, you become awesome at lucid dreaming. You can do whatever you want to now. This is fantastic. And I really expected her to get like suited or something, instead of the slow build and the hints, I guess, along the way that they've been giving, the characters have been giving her, of no, like this is all vaguely because of you. So the only actual solution here is no you. And actually, like, it actually worked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that the build to that was really good, and I think the hammering it home this episode was stellar. I really, my takeaway from watching this episode, like I was watching it and like I finished it and I was thinking like, maybe this show's a masterpiece. Like maybe maybe these guys have just been brilliant this whole time, because this really felt like the episode where like it all really starts coming together. And it I think that they've like planted a lot of threads along the way, planted a lot of seeds along the way that are now like kind of maturing, and it's in some cases like ones I didn't even realize were planted. So we'll jump back to the beginning here and kind of work our way through the happenings of the show. But I didn't want us to talk around the Nem sacrifice the whole time, so I wanted to kind of lead with that. But we open up, and of course the big cliffhanger from last time was that Sieg has returned. Nem thinks of him and he appears, and so now he's back, and Baku tells him that as long as you're alive, your dream can always come true. But before we get over to more Sieg, because I think the Sieg stuff is really interesting this time around, we do think, thanks to our cop friends, that we have tracked down where Nox is at. He's trapped in the dream world, of course. He's with the Phantom. So they call Baku in to go and help and investigate. But before he can go into the dream world all cool like, Minami comes in and tries to stop him. She's worried that because he goes into the dream world without falling asleep, it's taking a physical toll on him. And we hinted at that last time around, and it's really come to fruition here. He is like visibly shaken. He clearly is very weak, kind of can't stand up. But he forces himself through and kind of continues to try to be the hero, despite the fact that he's clearly about to collapse here.
Yeah, like at least for him visually, I think they did a good job of, like, the best easy comparison, or the one that like, it made me think of right away, is in the Batman Arkham games, because they were always like an overnight story where it was at like hours upon hours of Batman's beatdown in his life. It wasn't like dynamic, but as the night went on, they beat up the Batman costume a little bit more the entire time. So by the end of the night, like he looks like he saw some shit throughout the day, and like it's supposed to help build the story of like, oh, he's not like brand new and shiny looking, whatever. He is like fully, suit's starting to crack. There's like the shaky foundations going and all that kind of stuff. They did a really good job with, I guess, keeping Baku in, if not the same exact makeup, very close to, where he just looks like his face is just completely beat at this point. He seems exhausted when he talks, like he said. He vaguely seems to be recognizing that like he is the link between awake and asleep now. And it doesn't really matter how he feels or what else is going on. He just feels like he has to be the hero. And he'll just keep using his weird split life power as long as possible, whether it wears him down or not, because he's so worried about keeping them alive and like his promise and what he thinks, what we'll call code, but not code, supposed to be, and this whole hero thing. And like his whole I've been beat to shit, I'm gonna keep going vibe. It just looked fantastic for the whole like story beats of it and everything.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think my only nitpick about like Baku and sort of what he's going through here now, and it's minor, is like I wish when they first introduced like X Dream and his ability to sort of like fall into the dream world without falling asleep, I wish they would have like at that moment hinted at a cost for it, like hinted that maybe he shouldn't be doing it all the time. I don't think they did. I might have missed it if they did. But nonetheless, I really appreciate that it has a cost now, because at the time when they first introduced it, it felt to me like, oh, they just don't want to deal with the hassle of having to write him going to sleep every time, right? It's
Yeah.
easier. It's easier if he can just fall into the dream world instantly. And it certainly is, right? That certainly has helped the story along. But I like that they are like making it come to call now. Like he's paying the price for it. So, I wish they would have telegraphed it like a smidge more, but I do really like that it has a consequence. I think that that's really cool.
Well, especially with how they write the shows, I feel like that could work both ways, because I think it was Gav. One of the heroes could go invisible at some point, and like the first henshin animation CG with it had like the tentacles or thorns wrapping around his heart, and
Mhm.
like you were supposed to see damage, and like, wow, him going invisible takes too much. I think it was the aloof third guy in Gav
It
when he
was.
did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and like I feel like they set up early with him, like, hey, when you do these things, like the thorns tighten, the jellyfish stings harder, it's wrapped around your heart, kind of fuck thing. And I feel like they started that, but obviously, like the end of his story had nothing to do with that power being used too much or affecting him full blown or anything like that. So I guess it puts it in like a weird middle ground of I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do, let's show that it has effects or not. Like they did a fantastic job for this show, this series, where I think if they would have set it up as, hey, if you're playing like loosey goosey with the dreaming here, like it's gonna fuck you up. I think like this series specifically with these writers and stuff probably could have made that seem usable and workable, and it would have made sense, and they would have finished that story up. But I feel like Kamen Rider as a whole has not been good about setting that precedent and then like doing something with it going forward, or making that matter going forward at the end.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. They're not great at it as a series as a whole, for sure. So yeah, the fact that we're getting any sort of like consequences for these power ups like this, like there's a push and a pull at all, is pretty cool. Like I do really like that. And you're right. The other one from Gav is like the opposite problem. It's like they set up a very telegraphed consequence danger slash thing that like really never paid off. Like you said, like we really never got the big, now he's getting his come up for having done this power too many times, because it just wasn't as relevant to him.
Yeah, like
Um,
he didn't die from using it too much. Like he didn't make the final sacrifice of, if
yeah,
I go invisible, use jellyfish sting powers one more time, it's gonna be the end of me. And then he used it for Rakia. His name's Rakia. I just thought of it. Like Rakia didn't use it one last time as like his grand sacrifice. Like he seemed fine from that the entire rest of the show, and then just died by staying in the door world.
yeah,
So it's always a weird gap.
it certainly is. Yeah. Sieg, of course, who has now returned, kind of explains the whole, "Hey, you're tearing yourself up" thing. You gotta go to sleep. Like, and he punches Baku and says basically that he's gonna take it from here, and he's gonna go take out Nox's dream and rescue Nox himself.
It's not that he punched Baku. He did the knockout punch to the stomach, which I pointed out a couple weeks ago is the most popular common trope of that shows like to use to not actually like hit people in the head. And they did it did it again weeks later. I just found that like it doesn't really matter. I just found it funny that after me noticing they did it and us talking about it, they once
Yeah.
again did it a very short time after or before, however wording you want to use.
So after we talked about it last time, and then me seeing it again this time, I realized that it's totally like a pro wrestling move. Like wrestling does the either punch to the stomach, where you like linger with your fist against their stomach for a long time while they're bent over. Same thing we see here. Or wrestling does the low blow, where you like leave your arm up like between their legs for a long time to really emphasize that you hit them hard. And it feels the exact same thing. It feels exactly like wrestling when they do it. I'm just like, oh, it's the killing blow. he's gonna be out of commission for a little bit now.
Yep.
But yeah, Sieg heads off, of course, to the big black hole where Nox had disappeared from, and Nem goes with him. she tags along, which he complains about, which I like a lot. But um, she is basically kind of keeping tabs on him a little bit. But while she's doing it, she explains that she knows that he's not a bad person, and she thinks that because she thinks that he was seeking out the worst possible nightmare as kind of like self punishment for his crimes. So he basically kind of like admits that that's true, which I think is really interesting. And he tells her that like disappearing, as he did the first time when he kind of faded away, seemed like it would be a good punishment for him. However, when he faded away, he just sort of existed in a world of nothingness, and it wasn't like proper punishment in his eyes. So now that he doesn't need to be disappeared because he knows it isn't what he wants, he decides that he can end this dream. He can sort of be aligned with the good guys, kind of, because he's decided that living his current life, his bad life, is punishment enough. So he's gonna just suffer by being alive. He's decided.
Yeah,
And
I thought like for the whole like beginning part, my main note was just like Sieg might actually get the best redemption arc out of everybody for
yeah,
like the bad's going good for how crazy insane he seemed in the beginning. He was pretty real with Nem, and they found like an understanding with each other. And with him being like, no, like the hell that I thought was cool is actually horrible. So we'll do it your way now, and I'll help you guys out. Like, I don't know. I think it's like a fantastic choice. It's just crazy that like we have mainly been guessing it was going to be like the lady mom's arc, whatever. That would be like the crazy come around.
mm-hmm.
And it really doesn't seem like that's the way it's going to be. Like Sieg, code number 1 himself, I think seems to be getting like he is actually like the hero, will be the hero of his story after all by the end of this.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it doesn't feel forced. Like it feels like they've really like earned it here in a way that like I didn't expect them to be able to stick the landing on this as well as it seems like they're doing. Like the whole explanation here of like sort of why he'd kind of been doing what he was doing, and then like sort of why his goals have changed is like super reasonable and makes sense, and I really like it. Like it seems like choices that he would make, and like having that kind of like guilt deep down inside of him, but then realizing that like the real punishment is living with his bad choices is very human. It's very like realistic. And it kind of like it fits him as far as his arc, but then also like from a story perspective, like perfectly aligns him with the good guys without him just saying, "Now I'm a good guy," right? Like
Yeah.
he didn't
Or
have
you guys accepted me. Thanks for adding me on the team.
yeah, he didn't have to do a real cheesy like complete change of character. He just sort of had to like follow his kind of logical path, and he ended up in a good spot. So like really really well written as far as his storyline goes. And yeah, again, like for a show that like sometimes when they over explain things I don't love it. I thought this one was really, really good, and I thought that Sieg's whole arc here was awesome. Like he even like successfully convinces Nem that he's going to actually help here through this explanation. I thought that was cool. He was like, so yeah, it's like, so I don't need your bad dream to continue to exist and whatever. Like I can help. But this is all, we're all on the same page together here. They end up in an area once they enter the black hole that's like kind of this like weird spooky place, and Sieg tries to like jump out and kind of scare Nem, just having some fun. But then Nem uses her lucid dreaming and puts like LED light strips on Sieg's coat.
which looked awesome. Like of all the costumes or things they could have did whatever. I generally think like putting Sieg in the awesome Dayglow outfit while they're playing like Haunted House together, it was just like the best crazy nonsense thing they could have possibly did for that.
100% agree. This is one of those things that like, I don't know, if you really break it down and analyze it, like it's kind of silly and there was no need for it, like from a story perspective, but it's so freaking cool looking. Who cares? like visually it's awesome. And sometimes you just got to do what looks cool, and you got to come up with like a weird backwards explanation for why you got there. And I'm fine with that here. It was awesome. Yeah. Cause like, It feels like that they just wanted that to happen. They just wanted him in the cool, day glow cool outfit and make him look like
Yep.
a weird glow skeleton, and it was great. Yeah.
It's easier to show he's a good guy now when he has a wacky outfit.
Right. As they're hunting around, they do encounter Nox. And again, speaking of like awesome arcs for people, they find Nox and he's locked in battle with the Phantom. And basically, he has decided that he's going to be in continual, endless battle in perpetuity with this woman in complete darkness, sacrificing himself so that she can never get free. Like he's created his own little personal hell, which we kind of knew from what he did last time. Like clearly it was a self-sacrifice, but like going into the black hole and getting to like physically see it is awesome, I think, in this episode.
Yep.
So I really, really like that take on him. And again, speaking of like character motivation flowing naturally and then leading to where the story needs things to be, we get another awesome version of that here because we sort of stop the battle that's happening and they talk about kind of what's going on. And Nem kind of explains that, like, hey, if I just didn't exist, this would all be resolved. Because they're talking about how Oblivion is so dangerous and no one can actually stop Oblivion. And eventually Oblivion's going to destroy everything no matter what, because that's just what happens. And then, of course, it's like, well, if I died, it would end. And the lady hates that, obviously. She like is begging Nem to not do it. So obviously she only cares about Nem. And because she cares so much about Nem and wants to prevent Nem from killing herself, she's willing to not cause any trouble. She will let Nox go, she explains, and so he can go help, because she simply aligns now with their desires to save Nem. So again, like she didn't really change any of her belief system, but she's suddenly like kind of on the good guy's side because she cares the most about Nem more than anything else. And I think again, that's really good writing here.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it snapped her out of her whole thing, like her whole broken brain for the past however many weeks, months, whatever. We're just out of nowhere. Nem's like, well, I'm just gonna, take myself out, and then all this stops. And like everything that I feel like the lady, all of the bad, just basically like drained out of her, and she was like, no. Like there's a better solution here. Like, no, don't do it. I'm sorry. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do. We're gonna let this go. Like, just don't be crazy here, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean we've talked about it a bunch with her, but like her Nem protecting Nem being her like literal only motivation, is interesting from a character perspective because like yeah, like before saving Nem and protecting them meant like creating an entire imaginary world and enveloping everyone in this horrible never-ending dream. And then it meant fighting Nox, right? And eventually beating Nox and escaping so you can kind of continue this illusion. But then kind of on a dime, it switches to, well, oh shit. Okay. Well, I have to stop fighting now because like this is getting very real. and Nem's going to do something that I don't want her to do. So yeah, I think that's really cool. And she does such a switch here that she even ends up back in the command closet, which is kind of neat. So she has a little cool moment with Baku where she really like checks him. She clearly like wants to confirm that he's gonna do right by Nem because she's like, hey, you could just kill Nem and this whole problem would be solved, right? And he's like, yeah, but I would never do that.
Yeah, basically, like she's been my friend forever. Like, there's a part when they were talking, and Baku said something about Nem, whatever, and the lady said person. Like when Baku was like, she's a person, she has her own dreams, like her own life, whatever. Like the lady said person in a way of like she never heard Nem addressed as a living thing before.
Mm-hmm.
Or like it never like fully clicked through her head, and it all came together of like, oh wait, no, like even though she is my weird nightmare child that I've overly protected, yes, I do, I guess, realize that she is actually a living being that was born into life, and I should care about her as a person and not so much like weird dream coma child thing.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. Yeah, like she's a person. She's this entity all on her own. She has her own, desires and hopes and dreams, and yeah, that did feel like a realization for her at that point.
which seems crazy considering all things and whatever. I guess if that's the way she gets there to finish her little arc of no, 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 I'm not so horrible after all. I guess that works, but it's just crazy that like it took another young adult to be like, your daughter's a human being, for mom out of nowhere to be like, she's a human, she exists.
Yeah, true, true, true. And Baku, of course, gets to once again emphasize that he is different than Code here. Like this conversation's a great example of like, yeah, I know we dealt with Code for a long time, but like I'm not them. Like I do my own thing and I have a different code. No pun intended. So
Yeah.
that was cool. I liked that little checking conversation that she had with him. It was very in character for her and very in character for Baku. The explanation here, his sort of like thesis statement there. Excuse me, is that world peace is meaningless if he can't save like the one person that's in front of him. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a little too extreme of a direction. I kind of like, I know he's defending his friend and trying to talk her crazy mom into not being as crazy, but like the actual crux of the statement, if we're gonna look at it, of well, what the fuck good is world peace if my friend isn't here, is a little
Yeah.
insane.
It's it's very like Boy Scout to the extreme, I guess, kind of, right? Like it's kind of akin to kind of Superman saying like, "Well, I'm going to protect everybody," and like that sort of a thing. Like, but yes, at face value, it is kind of a ridiculous statement. But also like very in character, I think for Baku. It's weirdly similar. So early on in the Bleach manga, because I've been reading Bleach, there's a point where Ichigo, the main character, like gets his little Soul Reaper powers from a Soul Reaper, and she, the Soul Reaper, is kind of like telling him like, you can't just pick and choose who you're gonna save. Like you need to, you either need to decide you're being a Soul Reaper and save everyone you possibly can, or you need to give it up. You can't just save the people who are like physically right in front of you at the moment. And his big answer basically is like, yes, I fucking can. Like I get to like I'm gonna save who's in front of me because I want to, and like basically he's kind of saying like I don't care about the overall story. Like the people in front of me are the people that are important, and that's who I'm gonna focus on right now, and that's just what I'm gonna do. And that feels very similar to this, where he's just kind of saying like, fuck a big picture, Nem's important. and I like that as an ideal, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's the pure prime Boy Scout driven story of the life he's been working for. But like the line hits when he says it, and in the moment you're like, yeah, he's fucking telling her like Nem's important. And now talking about it hours later out loud, it just sounds extra silly to me. Of like, basically like, to use I guess a topical thing, like save the girl, lose the world, or save the cheerleader, lose the world, blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the same vibe of like he's more concerned about the direct instead of the other 7 million people or 7 billion people that are currently affected by these horrible nightmares and disappearing world and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good example. Like the save the cheerleader, save the world thing. Because really the next logical step, if you decide that world peace is more important than the person right in front of you, then eventually you get into the conversations of like, well, if we can have world peace and we only have to kill 1,000 people, it's worth it, right? Like you get into those sorts of like logic things of like,
Yeah.
it's for the greater good, right? Like a little sacrifice for the greater good. And then that's just villain talk. We can all agree, right? Like that is some Thanos stuff right there. So, I get that he's being pretty extreme with it, but like a little bit past kind of where he's at. And yeah, I think I agree with him. We also get an awesome team up between Sieg and Nox. I didn't really think we'd ever get this, but Sieg and Nox head out to fight Oblivion. And we get a cool little moment where Sieg is like, hey, you know that I was code number 1 once upon a time, so why don't you get in line, code number 4? Why don't you respect your
Your
elder
elder.
here? And then, of course, in true Knox fashion, Knox, as soon as he gets called code number 4, he's like, "I'm not a number. Stop calling me that."
he
But
he gave Knox he gave Knox both like the support of like no, like I was in this too in the beginning, and then like the little dagger with the little twist of like knowing Knox hates code, hates being a number, probably like the crux of what pissed him off the most of all of it, and
um,
being like, "Come on, 4, let's go."
yeah, it was so good. Yeah, getting to see them kind of do the dual henshin too was awesome. I didn't realize how much I wanted the two of them to team up until we actually got it, and I was like, yeah, this is great stuff. Unfortunately, they don't fare too well against Oblivion. They get beat up pretty good, and Baku does show up and does fight Oblivion for a long time. However, again, still not going well. But back in the command closet, the lady and Nem are continuing to talk, and the lady kind of is like staring off into space and being like, "Well, guess we just have to pray now." She's just sort of like, "All right, now we just wait." And Nem starts reflecting on her life, and she thinks back through, as we were talking about, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. She realizes that everyone has already helped her out so much, and she has all these wonderful memories of her friends. And clearly, she makes the decision that, like, okay, well, I've had a good one. Enough's enough. And she kind of just calmly walks out, opens the doors, opens one of those mine doors that we've seen throughout the show, and walks through. Um, and as she does, Oblivion, who's about to kill Baku, just fades away, and the lady watches Nem go and screams in agony as Nem fades away too. We realize that Nem is kind of gone from the real world. Our cop friends realize it, and then we get our big cliffhanger at the end with Nem being seemingly gone.
So I guess that would lead to the biggest question at the end of all this: does Nem come back in the last 2 episodes?
So I think that she does, because I think if she doesn't, like, I think Baku needs her to come back for his story. Like, I think her self-sacrificing makes a lot of sense here, that she would kind of be contented with her friendships and with the life that she's led. She got called a person by Baku today, and like that had kind of been a big thing for her, is like, I should never have existed. I'm a monster. I'm a demon. What am I? Why was I even brought into this world? So finally someone like acknowledges, like, you're a person, you deserve to exist and you deserve to be defended. And then she realizes in that moment, like, okay, then I'm good. I've done it. I've done the person thing. I think it made sense that she kind of sacrificed herself here, but I do think Baku kind of like needs her back to sort of finish the story.
I feel like most of the characters, like the main ones, like would need her back around. Like ignoring even the whole Baku half of it. I can't picture the ending, like the 2-episode ending of what the lady becomes in this world of like, because she helps Baku finish off the other gore nightmare things. Like I feel like that's still not a win, because I don't foresee them sitting together in the command closet being like, I miss your daughter, and her being like, yeah, I miss my daughter too. How sad, but she gave us this, blah blah blah. Like I feel like she has to come back just to like close up the circle story or whatever, like you said.
Yeah, I think so. It is going to be interesting what the lady does kind of immediately here with Nem gone. Like, if Nem doesn't come back instantly next episode, which I don't think that she will, the lady is just rudderless at this point, right? Like her entire focus for all of Nem's life now has been keeping Nem safe. Like she stayed awake for however long to, not go in the dream world and protect Nem, and now she's done so much past that. Like what are her motivations even at that point? Like does she turn on Baku because he didn't save Nem in time? Does she like, I don't know, just try to kill herself? Like I don't even know what happens. Like I don't even know where she goes from here.
Yeah. So
Maybe she goes like freaking Super Saiyan and tries to kill everyone. Who knows?
I mean, I guess in theory, we do have a large number of code agents still alive. If the ending is they all make new code in Nem's honor, like we have 1, 2, 4, and 7 now, still active and suiting and doing things. So I guess like on a very very far reach, I'm gonna say if Nem doesn't come back, then the ending will be 1, 2, 4, and 7 making new code in her honor or some sort of like hero guild kind of deal. But I don't see that being actually possible. I just assume that's
Yeah.
like a pipe dream of an ending.
And remember, we also have Minami, who is what 17. She's also a
Oh yeah,
former
that's right.
code agent too. Yeah, so we got some former code agents kicking around still. Um, I do get the sense though from this episode especially. I think the ending of the show is going to be a bit melancholy. I don't think everyone's going to be 100% happy. Everything's amazing. The world's perfect now. Look at us in our beautiful utopia land. I think there will be some like sad stuff. I don't know exactly how it's going to shape out, but I feel like it's going to end on a bit of a melancholy note.
I That one I'm not gonna vouch for because I feel like none of the shows ever end on something that would make kids upset.
I'm not saying like really upsetting. I'm just saying like I don't know. Maybe someone does have to sacrifice themselves at the end, or there's gonna be something along those lines. Like we've seen stuff like that before, right? Like we just talked about the Rakia sacrifice and stuff like that. Like we have had characters that just are gone permanently at the end, and maybe it's a character that puts themselves in like not a perfect situation to support the others or something like that. I don't know. I don't think it'll be like really really downer of a thing, but I do think there will be something that's like just not quite perfect about the ending, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3, 5, and 6 are still dead. That, that,
Yeah,
that's the not perfect ending in the ending. But I think
that is
everything
fair.
else is gonna be. I still feel like Baku's not gonna stop being a secret agent. So I still think my prediction since towards the beginning of he makes inevitably whatever new code may be is still going to be the thing. But he's just going to have all of his friends and police friends and everything else just doing it with him. I'm going to say with Nem is going to
With
be my
them,
guess.
could be. I will also say, so Nim like sacrificing herself this episode, like wasn't really explained how that happens, like how she's able to do that and how she knew going to the door was going to be able to erase her. And I'm okay with that. I liked that. That's perfectly fine. Next episode, if they try to like over explain what happened to Nem, I'm upset about it. I'm just putting that out there right now. You guys got to get ready. If that happens, we're gonna complain about it on the show. Because yeah, it doesn't feel like it's a thing that needs explanation to me. But we'll see if they go out of their way to talk about it. Speaking of going out of their way to talk about things, Toby, let's jump over and read some emails. cast@commonwritersucks.com is the email address. Once again, that is cast@commonwritersucks.com. Toby, this week our first email comes in from Chris. Chris says, "Hey guys, just listened to episode 47, and there's something I wanted to address. First, as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, that's never a good way to start things. First, as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, first as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, I definitely understand having differing opinions compared to others, and I think that seeing both positives and negatives on something is necessary to evaluate a product or property. Second, thankfully, Gundam isn't that difficult of a series to follow. We were talking about watching a bunch of different Gundam episodes. The
480
first
hours
couple,
or something like that.
yeah, exactly. The first couple series and movies are all connected, but almost all the Gundam series after are their own continuity. So you could start with anything from G Gundam or after. Most Gundams are 50 episodes, but then there are series like the 2020's Witch from Mercury, which only has 25 episodes. Finally, I didn't bring this up because I thought your Discord would have covered it to death. You guys seem to be confused, or at least Toby is, as to what determines writer order. Obviously,
Yes.
primary are the title characters. So this is funny because we talk about this a lot. I don't think that we are I don't think we're confused about what it means. We just think we think sometimes the distinction is arbitrary. Would that fit your thoughts, Toby?
I mean, I can understand what primary means. I guess I
Yeah.
don't understand where. I guess the third. When we get to the third rider, I guess I don't know where that comes from. But sure. I mean, finish the story. But yeah, Toby's confused. It's okay.
Always confused. Obviously, primary are the title character, and all other classifications were originally fan made terms. Secondary and tertiary used to be determined by when a character came into the story, like Valen came right after Gav, and Vram after Valen. This isn't always true, since the secondary for Kabuto, who is Kamen Rider Gatak, is actually the fifth or sixth writer in the show.
All right, so see, we're already putting little asterisks on the thing
Yeah.
of like, well, sometimes it's the sixth, but it's still the second. So this is where the confusion comes from. We're just adding to it now.
I agree. Yeah. But he is the secondary for being the second protagonist in the show. Chris has a couple other examples that are similar to that, of just like, oh, this one doesn't fit the pattern, but here's why it is, and this one doesn't fit the pattern because here's why it is. So like, I get all that, but those are the things we're talking about, right? Those are the things that are like, well, okay, if there's some exceptions, like the whole rule is kind of sus, if you ask me. But I think at its core, we understand the concept especially when it maps out as you would expect. But very often, and I think that Zeztz is a good example, where it's like secondary and third, like they're very similar, they're very close. Like obviously, it's in Zeztz, it's like, okay, well, Nox is going to be the secondary, that I guess tracks. But like, really, the difference between like Nox and Sieg is not huge. And then I think when you look at like Gav is one where like the argument could be made. I get the choice, but the argument could be made. And then I think Gotchard's the one that's really, really big, of just like, really it's a toss up whether Valvarad is going to be the second rider or not, if you look at like how the story is structured.
Not, I'm asking you, the royal you.
Yeah.
Is transforming into a common rider what makes them the tertiary or secondary rider?
I mean, yeah, they have to be a rider. So the thing with Valvarad was he wasn't officially a common rider for a long time. Yeah.
But it's based off a transformation order, or just them transforming into a common rider name?
Yeah, so it would be like appearance of when they transformed, I think, would be the normal, like the normal reveal. Obviously, the title character you'd see first, and then your secondary rider would normally be the second rider henshin that you see in the show.
Okay. I guess I'll accept that.
outside of like a villain henshining or something like that.
Okay. That at least helps to clarify. But because I was gonna say, like, Huda was in the first episode of Gotchard. So that's why I wanted clarification of they have to be in a suit, because then if Kudo was there the first episode, then she should
again,
be first,
it all comes down to the story, right? Like, so if you wrote a story where eventually the sixth rider becomes the most important, like as is described here in Kabuto, then it all gets thrown out the window. But I would say the normal flow of things would be the order of henshins would be the first, second, third, and so on. But anyway, I also think it's like it mostly doesn't matter. Like, again, since it's like a fan made thing and like it sort of has been adopted as real, like, but it ultimately just doesn't really matter too much. Apparently Revis actually had a special episode talking about what would count as secondary. The main thing is there's only one rider for every position, and any extras don't matter in the grand scheme of the series. Some writers talk about fourth/quaternary riders and dark riders/outsiders, but any others are just labeled as extra riders. So, needlessly complicated is what I would say. Our next email comes in from, I believe they want to be known as Imaginary, because it says, hello, I'm Imaginary.
Wait, so real quick, was that Chris's whole email? Just say I was confused and then say it's just transformation order? Okay.
Yeah. I skipped over a couple of the other examples that he said, but yeah, that's
okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was just I wasn't sure if, not that he wrote something wrong or they wrote something wrong. I just wasn't sure if I missed that going someplace else other than Toby's confused. The rules are it's just the transformation order unless they decide it's not.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Toby's confused. Here's the explanation.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, next email from Imaginary. Hopefully this email is reaching you too, because I cannot find a proper transcription of your email anywhere. So I believe that it is in the description of both the podcast and the YouTube videos.
Probably
There's
not.
there's a link. There should be a link with all of our relevant information, our link to our socials and our link to our email. If it is not there, I will add it before this episode airs.
That's pretty tricky.
But yes, you have reached the right email address. So good job at the at your perseverance here. Imaginary goes on and says, I also need to mention I have yet to listen to episode 47 and will likely miss this episode 48 as well. Not that I won't be listening. I'm currently at CEO in Orlando, Florida. Josh might be familiar with it. Yes, I am. It is one of the big major fighting game tournaments for the US. That means I'm currently away from work, which is what I like to save these episodes for.
Real quick before we finish the CEO thing. Mm-hmm. Our email is in none of the things you mentioned.
Is it really not? Oh my God. All right, I'll get it in there then. I'll get it in there.
So it's not on the YouTube episode. There's a bit.ly on there. The bit.ly does not have our email on there. And then our Spotify does not have the email on there. So this is all Josh's fault. We've been riding blind for like 5 years now.
I thought it was in the bit.ly. My bad. I will get it in the bit.ly. we'll get that sorted out. I'll do that. Like I said, I'll do it before this is even posted. So if you're hearing this episode, you should be able to look down in the description and see cast at commonwritersucks.com, a link to be able to take you to that. So yeah, we'll get that sorted. Sorry, everyone. Imaginary goes on and says, the CEO experience has been pretty good so far. I only signed up for a few brackets and was quickly eliminated from all of them, but I managed to play against one of the biggest players in the world in the game Under Night in Birth, Big Black, known for their rivalry with top player Defiant. I was single-handedly destroyed, but it was a very awesome experience getting to play against them. Even got a photo. Uni is a great game, and I highly recommend checking it out. Speaking of fighting games, it was a shock to see Easlaf cross-crossed or double-crossed mentioned a few episodes ago, and I'm wondering if since then, if any other interesting games have popped up at Josh's locals. As someone who considers themselves a purveyor of such games, it's a joy to hear about them. So yeah, I guess, let's talk about all of this so far. So CEO, I'm very jealous of you for getting to go to CEO because I watched it this weekend and wanted to go really bad, but obviously not making the trip out to Orlando for it, but it seemed super fun. Seemed like a good time. Toby, for you, CEO is the giant tournament run by Jabali. We've talked about Jabali before.
Yeah.
And Jabali is a big wrestling fan. So the big thing that CEO does is if you win it, you get a title.
It makes wrestling themes, yeah.
Yeah, and then they do their like top eights and stuff. They do their matches in a wrestling ring. So they give all the players like entrances, like they pick out music and they let them do an entrance. Then they go in the ring and they sit down at a table in a wrestling ring and they do it all there. It's a really cool kind of production thing. They have like ring announcers and stuff. It makes CEO feel like a very unique experience as far as like tournaments go. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, awesome that you got to play kind of a big name player. Under Night in Birth is really fun. It is a very fun game. It's an anime fighter. And it's always in like the top, I would say like, I don't know, 5 or 6 entries. Like it's pretty popular as far as games go. Obviously it's not like Street Fighter or Tekken, but it's up there. It definitely always gets a lot of entrants at tournaments. It is fun to play. I haven't put a lot of time into it, but it is very fun. And yeah, so at my local, so I didn't get to go to locals this past month. I was busy that day. But I don't think there's been any other like really crazy games since then. I'm trying to think. It mostly this last local that I didn't go to was clearly like majority Tokon, which had just come out, the new Marvel Tokon game. So I think most people were in that bracket. So I suspect we'll get, if we do another like weird game or something like that, it'll probably be in a month or two once kind of the Tokon hype has died down a little bit. But yeah, it was fun getting to like dive into a random game. We talked about it a bit of the time, but like dive into a random game, try to pick up like just enough of the basics that you're like somewhat okay enough to handle a match, and then getting to dive into a tournament. Like that was a cool way to do it. So I think that next time I go to a big tournament, whether it be Combo Breaker or whatever, like I want to kind of do that for one or two other games and join the brackets for those games. Like I wouldn't actually win, wouldn't really have much of a chance, but like being, a few days competent in a game and getting to experience the tournament and experience high level play is really fun. So I think previously had been probably like intimidated by the thought of that, but like doing it once here with Easlaugh is like, hey, it's not a huge deal, right? Like losing is not a big deal. It's fine. And just getting to like participate is actually like fun and worth it. So yeah, super cool. Imaginary goes on and says, in more Kamen Riderly news, obviously I can't talk much about the recent episodes, but I can mention my own experience with Kamen Rider. When I was a child, I watched the Western adaptation of Kamen Rider Ryuki, Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. It was a great experience. For both of your pleasure, it should be noted that Eighting's fantastic Kamen Rider Super Climax Heroes fighting game has a strange Western port that strips it down to the cast of Ryuki and redubs it all with Dragon Knight, or something to that effect. It's definitely something to check out. Dragon Knight as a show is also rather interesting if you get the chance to watch it. I'd take it. It's especially cool to compare against Ryuki. Other than that, my recent obsession with Kamen Rider started when a group of friends I watched Gaim, a group of friends and I watched Gaim, took a break, watched the entirety of Geats, and then went back and finished Gaim. Gaim is an absolutely insane show from the same mind as Gen Urobuchi, who created Saya no Uta, Fate Zero, Psycho Pass, and Madoka Magica, and has a similar feel to Madoka, starting out lighthearted and then plunging into an insanely dark vibe, outside of some weird crossover and movie tie-in episodes, and is great. And of course, Geats needs no introduction. But yes, that's all for me. I swear my future emails, if they actually reach you, will be more focused. Just wanted to get this out of the way and see what happens. Looking forward to finishing Zeztz and the start of Mice. So yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. You don't have to focus. That's not a prerequisite to write in, just for the record.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. We appreciate the email. Toby, our next email comes in from Adebayo. Adebayo says, good morning, Toby and Josh. Hope you guys, how it's going. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me reformat that for you. Hope you guys are doing good and hope things are going well. And I'm excited for the finale of Zeztz, which is so close you can almost reach it. Anyway, here are my questions. Question number 1, Toby, were you able to catch all the new Kingdom Hearts news at Disney? Sorry, we've been talking about Kamen Rider for an hour. Are you up on all the new Kingdom Hearts stuff that got announced, Toby?
I did. I know there's an anime. I know as of while we're talking, the game is on sale on Steam again, and it's like the #1 selling game at the moment because of all the new hype. I saw the little Coco gameplay trailer, which looks fantastic. And even with the new realistic graphics, or like the human looking Sora and not cartoon Sora, they made it work. I'm curious now, since they've only shown in the first way back teaser was Star Wars, possibly. And now, at least in game, in cinematics, they've showed Coco. So I'm curious if they're just going to lean into actual CG properties at this point to even out the difference between the Disney part and like the 2D animations and the new vibe.
I could see that. Have they done Marvel yet?
I feel like that was one of the things. I feel like Star Wars and maybe a Marvel thing was the two things that was like hinted, but those would both cross into the weird real but not real scenarios covered by the CG thing.
Yeah, I wonder if you do one of those but not both in one game. Like you do Star Wars this time and the next game you do Marvel. because those are like, as being like a not huge Disney person, I feel like those are the two last frontiers for Kingdom Hearts to conquer, right?
I mean, with what Disney owns now, yes, but like they could, I would see that they would probably do one of each world, waiting until Kingdom instead of like waiting for Kingdom Hearts 5, because God forbid I won't be alive for that if it's even a thing.
Dude, I just realized they could do like Simpsons. They bought all those Fox properties, right? So they could literally put the Simpsons in the game.
If
That'd
not
be
that,
crazy.
I mean, you might as well play Fortnite, because then you can do Simpsons, Family Guy, Kingdom Hearts, and everything else together.
That's
So
true.
it's
That's
already
true.
there.
Adebayo says, out of all the news announced for this week, I'm most excited about the animated series for Kingdom Hearts. Because I never thought an animated series would ever happen, and I'm curious to see how many new people it'll get to finally play Kingdom Hearts.
So, like,
Um,
with the phrasing, I don't know if it, like, yes, it's an animated series, but everyone's saying it's an anime. So I don't know if we're going more Japanesey with it, or if we're going more just like America animated series. Because I feel like there's a
yeah,
distinct
that'll
line between the two.
that'll be interesting to see. The details here that that have been linked to me in this email is that it will air on Disney Plus, and Nomura and the team at Square Enix are involved, and it's a brand new story that will expand the universe of Kingdom Hearts.
If it's if Nomura's involved and it's a brand new story and it's on Disney, there's gonna be a lot of confused kids. And then the story's not gonna like say anything at all, but somehow say something, and everyone's gonna love it.
It's gonna be like, well, you should have watched Birth Before Sleep and 358 over 2 days to get the
Yeah.
full
Look
experience.
at you dropping things, yeah.
I looked at since they went on sale on Steam, I had a moment this weekend where I was like looking at the full Kingdom Hearts collection on Steam, and I'm like, should I be bad? Should I do it? And then I talked myself out of it.
Missing
I was
out.
like, it'd be pretty funny if I just devoted like 50 hours of my time to play all of Kingdom Hearts, and then I just told you at the end that I did it.
I was just gonna say, if you're going to do it, just do it and don't tell me until the end.
Yeah, I thought about that. I really, really considered this very deeply this weekend, and I was like, man, that'd be a great bit on the podcast if I just suddenly knew everything about Kingdom Hearts, and then I realized that meant I had to play all of Kingdom Hearts, and then I closed the browser window and
There you
stopped
go.
thinking about it.
Now you're learning.
Yeah. Question number 2 from Adebayo is, what's the worst hangover you've ever had?
I don't know, but it's happened. Josh probably doesn't have one.
I was
So
saying I'll go first if you want a few more seconds to think. I don't drink, so I've literally never been hungover. I don't even know what the experience is like. I've woken up very tired before, and I've been sick to my stomach separate occasions. That's the closest I've been.
at least one that sticks out was when I was in college. We played beer pong with Electric Blue Lemonade. So that's effectively like super alcohol lemonade, and you're really supposed to play like drinking games with not hard stuff. I guess like if you're a pro, better than me, I guess people would do it. But that's a lot of liquor to drink, and I remember throwing up just like neon blue, and that one hurt for a while, and still like the smell of like, I guess it's like pink lemonade smell more so than like lemonade smell, but that smell still lingers in my brain. I do my stomach does turn a little if I smell it now, and that was like 20
Yeah,
years ago.
I won't give any specifics, but I definitely have had vomits where the thing that comes up has such a distinct smell to it that it sticks with you. I've had that as well, and it is a this food is ruined for me forever type moment. So yeah, that is troubling. So I know that like does like if you drink too much and then you puke it up, does it burn coming back up too? Like, is it a real bad experience coming up?
No, my thing is more like I feel like it comes out my nose, and then that doesn't go away.
Oh,
But the rest is fine.
so my wife always jokes that I'm like really bad at throwing up, which is totally true. Like, I hate throwing up. I try to avoid it. Like, if I feel like I'm going to be sick, I will like do everything in my power to ride it out and not throw up. Where her, on the other hand, she would much rather like, oh, I don't feel good, let me throw up and get it out of my way, and then like I'll feel better. Like I always feel better right after I throw up, right? But for me, throwing up is such a horrible experience that it's traumatic. So like my body might physically feel better, but I just went through a horrible experience, so like it's actually kind of all worse. So yeah, I avoid like the plague any situation that might put me into a situation where I'm going to throw up.
From a lifetime, I'll call it at this point. So like completely, I guess, side tangent. So I'll keep it short for this specific conversation. At some point when my horrible anxiety started, when I was young, like 17, 18 in college, whatever, at some point I figured out that at least in my brain, like throwing up would calm my anxiety, or like I could pin anxiety to a trigger. So I've thrown up so many times in my life that I'm probably like team your wife, to the point where if my stomach vaguely feels sick, I can just stare at the toilet and throw up.
That's crazy.
Like,
Yeah.
and like it
She's the
doesn't,
same. Yeah,
yeah,
she's the
it
same.
doesn't bother me. Like, I guess I'm so used to just being a part of my life that like I'm like, okay, like I don't feel good, or like even if it's not from drinking, anxiety, anything else, if I don't feel right, I'm like, well, I'll just go throw up real quick and I'll go from there. I just go throw up.
It's incredible. Yeah, my wife is so good at throwing up, and like I guess does it so frequently, but like in a similar vein, like it is a thing that she doesn't try to prevent from happening when she's sick. So like we just have like emesis bags, like we have puke bags, just at the ready in our house for when someone's sick. It's also nice when you have a kid too, um, instead of like giving them a bucket or something, giving them like a little thing that they can hold that they can throw up into is good.
Yeah.
So it's come in very clutch with the kid at times, but yeah, we're probably the only house on the block that has just emesis bags at the ready for that. um, but anywho,
This is a weird conversation. Yeah. Next question.
Adebayo, thanks very much for the email. And our last email this week comes in from Shade. Shade says, before we start, I'd like to share some stuff I've been up to this past week because I've been doing some pretty fun stuff.
This is when,
First off,
by the way, this is when Shade says, "Oh, they gave Nem's actress her flowers this week," and then I know for sure she's not coming back. I haven't looked. I'm assuming that is coming in an email at some point, and then it's going to ruin the plot.
First off, I recently just finished Jill's campaign for Resident Evil 1. This is the first video game campaign I've ever finished. That's crazy. Congratulations. Before this, I've only ever played FPS games and some Pokemon games, of which I've never even finished. I've never been a big video game guy growing up, mostly because I've never been exposed to it until I was older and had access to the internet. So I'm planning on playing all the classic games that I missed out on and possibly put them on YouTube in the near future. I was planning on putting this on YouTube actually, but I messed up the recording, so there's only footage of me wandering around like an idiot. By the way, if you guys have any recommendations, I'd love to hear them. And yes, Toby, I'll eventually play Kingdom Hearts at some point in the future. Yeah, Shade, if you get your YouTube channel going and you start posting videos, let me know what it is, and we'll shout you out on the show here. As far as game recommendations go, what classic games to play? That's a good question. Like
Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is your one. That's your one up there.
I don't know. Sure, I might as well lean into it this week again.
I think there's like a lot of really good stuff. The one console that you might not think about when you're thinking about history of games is the Game Boy Advance, but don't sleep on the Game Boy Advance. There's a bunch of incredible games on GBA, and they emulate really well on whatever you're emulating things on. The one that comes to mind that I was just playing yesterday is WarioWare. That is a game, the very first one, that is incredible and is different than any other game that you will play. I would check that out. That's my random recommendation.
There you go.
Another thing I've been doing, Shade continues on, is I recently went to a fan screening of Agito's Psychic War. They're currently airing the movie in my country, and luckily I'm able to attend a small official fan screening of the film. And then Shade shares a photo and says, I even got to meet Agito and dapped him up too.
There you go. Perfect. Way to go.
That's awesome. And then yeah, shares a photo of like the poster and a couple other little memorabilia items that they received, which is really cool. The movie itself is really solid. If you recall, this movie is a part of the Kamen Rider Chronicle film label. They're basically mid-budget Kamen Rider films based on older characters, and you can totally see the difference in budget. There's a lot of character dramas, 2 or 3 big action sequences, and a lot of scenes where people just die. Although that's more an Agito thing, not a ratings thing. You guys should totally check this movie out once it releases on streaming. Toei made this movie so that people who aren't familiar with Agito could just watch and enjoy it as a regular action movie, and I think it worked relatively well in that aspect. I dragged along my friend who's a little familiar with Kamen Rider, but not Agito, and he seemed to enjoy it despite knowing nothing about Agito. I think that's smart. That's a way to do it. Like, especially if you're going to be revisiting old franchises, like you got to do it in such a way that like anybody can tune in and watch it. I think otherwise you're going to limit your base just way too small. But yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm really excited to check it out. Like, I think that the label when they announced it is very cool, has a lot of potential. And while I don't have like deep love for Agito, I'm really excited to see kind of what the budget looks like and stuff. And then Shade shares some interesting things about the episode this week. First, it's nice to see Nem goofing off with Sieg one last time before the end. It was very funny how Sieg thinks things getting erased into nothingness is too boring to be a proper end for him. Baku's not doing well. He hasn't slept normally in days. He's getting beaten up. It's also here that we get a great conversation between Baku and the lady, but I'll talk more about this at the end of the section, Shade says. We cut back to Nox and Sieg fighting Oblivion, and Nox just gets yeeted. Yeah, Nox gets like thrown clear at one point. Baku, we didn't talk about it. Baku rides up on the motorcycle, which is a sick moment in the fight too.
You just love your motorcycles, that's why.
I do, I really do. Nem, of course, makes the ultimate sacrifice at the end. Everyone returns. Everything's back to normal. And Shay says, before we end this section, can I talk about how proud I am of Baku as a protagonist? Most people would agree the show had its ups and downs at some points, but one thing that solidifies this show as one of my favorites is definitely Baku as a protagonist. In fact, the show is not even over yet, but Baku might be my favorite Kamen Rider protagonist of all time. I remember reading some of the producers' interviews when the show started about how they intend to go back to the root of Kamen Rider to introduce international audiences to the image of Kamen Rider. At the time, I thought it was only in terms of designs, but now that the show is ending soon, it's clear they also meant it in terms of Zeztz himself as a character. Baku feels like a classic Showa Rider protagonist put into a modern Reiwa series. He's a kind-hearted man who was made into a weapon by a secret organization, then escapes that organization, endures unimaginable hardship, all to fight for humanity's dreams and freedom. Combined with the clash between his classic, unwavering Kamen Rider heroism and the different shades of gray, morality, and darkness from Code, Nox, Lady, Sieg, etc., makes for an incredible thesis statement for the series. From beginning to end, it's always been dreams surpassing nightmares. A hero surpassing the impossible to protect humanity's freedom to dream, and that's what Kamen Rider has always been about from the beginning. Heck, in this episode, Baku even indirectly quotes the original Kamen Rider when he was talking to the lady about his decision to save Nem. Baku in the episode says, "What does world peace even mean if I can save one person's life?" And the original quote from the original Kamen Rider is, "Human life is more important than even peace and justice." That moment when he said that, I audibly laughed out loud and said, "Oh my God, that's him. That's the Kamen Rider." It was that perfect. What an incredible way to reinvent the classic Kamen Rider story, especially for the first fully international Kamen Rider. Yeah, that is super cool. I also think that they, if I remember right, in the motorcycle section, I think that they used like a sound effect from the original Kamen Rider as well. I believe they did like an audio cue to also harken back, which is kind of neat.
I mean, I would have to rely on you for that. So if you say so, sure.
It could have been that I imagined it, but I'm pretty sure it was there. Someone can confirm if they want. But I think that's a thing. And then moving on from there, Shade has some other news and tidbits for us. First off, Toei recently released a jazz album for Kamen Rider, Sentai, and Project Red. It's called Heroes Jazz, which is
That's
great.
A good
name. Each album has 10 songs, and they're all jazz covers of Kamen Rider, Sentai, and Red songs. Some of the songs even have vocals too, and they sound really good. Love is the Strongest, in particular, is my favorite cover from the Sentai Project Red album. My favorite from the Kamen Rider album is Kamen Rider Black's cover because it sounds almost like a ballad mixed in with jazz. I will have to check that out. That seems like good, like, working music. Oh, and Josh, the Shinkenger opening theme is included, but funnily enough, the jazz version of the song sounds like elevator music. Great. Yeah, that's a great theme, so it's a hard one to improve on, I think. Next up on news and tidbits, the baton pass happened. So we got to see Mice and Baku and Zeztz pass the baton, similar as we've seen before. Very cool. They both talked about their experience being Kamen Rider, and luckily I was able to translate some of it. So here's some highlights. A ton of people at the event have seen the Zeztz movie more than 5 times, which is crazy. Ever since the movie came out, Imae, who is Mice, has been reading all the chatter about Zeztz online. Akiya talks about the warm reception to Mice's cameo from the audience, and for some reason he kept messing up the Japanese word for warm. I guess because he's nervous. Imae visited the set during the filming of Mice's cameo scene, even though he didn't have any scenes that day. They talked about how they went to a Kamen Rider store, nobody recognized them. They went to the Kamen Rider diner, and no one recognized them there either. Mice showed Zeztz a Zeztz plush that he'd bought, and they take a picture with it, so cutesy stuff happened.
They passed the plush too. That's good.
Yep. Let's see if there's anything else here. Super cool. Imae shares that he hasn't seen the final episode of Zeztz yet and plans to watch the episode live with everyone. And then Zeztz asks the question, what's your favorite Zeztz form of Imae? And Imae answers plasma because the form strikes the opponent the instant it transforms. And yeah, the event ends there. Thankfully, I was able to pick up a lot of the conversation thanks to auto translation and my limited amount of Japanese. All right, that's going to be it for today. Next time is going to be the penultimate episode of the show. So what are your general thoughts on the show? Yeah, we talked about that, I think, a little bit so far, and we'll probably save that until the end. Shade says, we're nearing the end now, and I think we all have most of our opinions on Zeztz pretty well set already. How this has been different from previous series, what did you like or dislike, and so forth and so on. I'd like to know everyone's overall thoughts as we get to the finale. Yeah, so we will we'll talk about how it all comes together. But I think we talked about our current thoughts of things right now. But yeah, we're getting close. We got 2 more, as Shade pointed out. And of course, because we are getting close to the end, again, we are going to evaluate your dreams, analyze your dreams on the last episode of Zeztz. So send those along in email form if you would like, or you can message me on Discord if you're in the Discord. And now that you actually will have a link to the email address, which you apparently never had before, it might be even easier than it was previously. So again, those emails can come into cast@kamenridersucks.com. And again, your dreams will be kept anonymous for everyone, so don't worry about that. If it is a potentially embarrassing dream, that's okay. We'll keep it anonymous. Toby, we also have a Patreon. You can find that over at patreon.com/thecommentwriters. We watch a bunch of extra tokusatsu stuff that we don't talk about here on the podcast, and you can watch that stuff along with us if you join the Patreon. It's $3 a month and gets you access to all the bonus content that we watch. Currently, we are finishing up Gavan Infinity. We are now getting deep into Live Man, which is really fun so far. So if either of those things interest you, you can check those out. And we'll probably be diving into Omega Horn once we clean up Gavan Infinity. So you can ride along with those things. Toby also always plays a Toku adjacent game every week, and you get to watch that video as well. You also get access to the Discord server and whatever other nonsense we get up to. Sometimes we open cards. There's all kinds of stuff happening over on the Patreon.
Lots of nonsense. Lots of nonsense.
Yeah, indeed. And we do hope, even if you don't want to sign up for the full Patreon experience, we do follow for free. We do post free episodes on occasion, usually the first 3 episodes of every show we watch. So when we get started with Omega Horn, those first 3 episodes will be free. So you can give it a little sample and see if the Patreon is for you. So again, patreon.com/thecommentwriters is where you can find that. And with that, Toby, why don't you tell the people where they can find you on the internet?
On Twitter, it's Life of Tobes, and on YouTube, it's Tobes Plays.
And for me, I'm over on Blue Sky at meek.lol. And you can follow the show on Blue Sky as well. It is at commonwritersucks.com. So again, get those emails in, cast at commonwritersucks.com. Check out the Patreon, patreon.com/the comment writers. And please do join us back here next time for the penultimate episode discussion. But in the meantime, have a great week, everybody. Peace.